Sanje Joda Zoge Chonamda Chanju Bardo Dane Gyapsuj Dage Jinso Gebe Sonamke Dola Benjir Sanje Jubare Shum Sanje Joda Zoge Chonamda Chanju Bardo Dane Gyapsuj Dage Jinso Gebe Sonamke Dola Benjir Sanje Jubare Shum Sanje Joda Zoge Gyabsuji dage jinso kebe tsonamge dora penjir sangye jubare shu Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham datha gato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha Evam vati mahashamanaye svaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tejam datha gato yavatat yesham chayo nirodham Evam vati mahashramanaye svaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham datha gato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha Evam vati mahashramanaye svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the grace here. Tiyatha om gati gati paragati Parasamgate bodhi svatyata Om gate gate paragate Parasamgate bodhi svatyata Om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi svatyata Om gate gate paragate Parasamgate bodhi svaha. Okay, the first session that we had was on the why the Buddha remained silent for 49 days. And anybody who can now guess why the Buddha remained silent for 49 days, why? And if possible, try to articulate, not just say what you think on the basis of what you've learned thus far. Just see if you can articulate why the Buddha remained silent for 49 days. Anyone? That's this maximum. Can you hear me? Okay. Abhishek, you don't hear too well? Aditi, you mare. Adela di yore mare. Mada mic yore mare. Tisure. 제대로 직박에 이기로.
targidida 혼자 상수성 됩니다. targidida.
맞대로 퇴지 말해. Okay. Anyone? can guess. Yes.
Unless you had the experience of nirvana, it will be impossible to understand it through words. So you might think these words will be meaningless unless they already know what I'm talking about.
Good. Anyone else? Yes.
So basically, realize and we remain silent for 49 days. And as stated in the prayer book, the profound, peaceful elaboration which we have in non-confidence, such is the nectar like Dharma at this hour. Finding no one to silence his teaching in silence, I retire to the woods. So he felt that nobody can understand this profound.
So now that we are already introduced to what is emptiness a little bit on the basis of the examples, the question is, what do you think is the reason? What particularly, what is the reason that made the Buddha remain silent?
He said that this profound knowledge nobody will understand it.
What is the profound knowledge? What's the profound knowledge? What is the profound knowledge? Wisdom of emptiness. So why do you think the wisdom of emptiness is difficult to understand?
Because it cannot be conceptually explained. It has to be a direct experience.
But then what about these books?
Sorry.
It might be the people who naturally or actively look at that,
Okay, is there anybody who likes to pick up the information which we learned the last 2 days, yesterday and this morning, on the basis of what we've learned thus far? What is difficult? What is difficult here? That everything's subjective. That is difficult to understand. Because 24/7 we see things as objectively real, right? To say that things exist subjectively, there's something which we cannot imagine that it is the reality. So people think that this is that the subject reality. We can't really understand the subjectivity. That is difficult. Okay, Manjari, you like to add more? Same thing? Okay, so from what we learned thus far, what we discussed is that the 24/7, since the time you were born, when you had no clue about your mother, or about your brothers, sisters, father, and so forth, and at that point you already had that the seeing things as objectively real. How many cried there when you were born? How many cried? And how many you can guess you cried? Huh? Yes. Most likely, each one of us we cried. If you do not cry, somebody will slap you to make you cry, to make you breathe. You getting it? So why did you cry? The moment you cry, there's an emotional outburst there. There's an emotional outburst. Where there's emotional outburst, involuntary emotion, the emotions arising within you, underscoring that is the self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance is there as the foundation, supplemented by self-centered attitude. That makes you cry, burst into tears. All these things happen because of that. Okay, so in other words, 24/7 we have the vision of things as objectively real. Now, for the first time to be introduced as, and since when did it happen to see things as objectively real? Since when? Hansala? Yes. Since you're born or since before that? Since time immemorial. Since time immemorial, in the past lives. Since no beginning. You're getting it? This is how we have been so addicted to seeing things objectively real. And suddenly, somebody says that no, things don't exist objectively, you cannot believe in it. So difficult to say undo this belief that things exist objectively. Okay, by the way, how is this done? This is charged every day? Recharged? Okay. 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 So the point is that, as Tam said, that it is very, I think what is difficult, why the Buddha remains silent, is that for the people to digest that concept that things are empty of objective reality, that is difficult. For people to find it difficult to digest this concept. So the Buddha remains silent. Now, but did the Buddha remain silent all throughout? No. And through further request, then the Buddha started to give the teachings, the three turnings of the Dharma. Teaching of the Dharma, and this is done on a very systematic way, in ways of the 4 steps. 4 steps, today referred to as the 4 Buddhist schools of the 4 schools of the Buddhist philosophy. 4 schools. What are they? Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, Chidamatra, and Madhyamika. And Madhyamika there are 2. What are they? The Savatantra Madhyamika, which is lower, and the Prasangika Madhyamika, which is the highest. Okay. So from this, yesterday, if you could remember, we learned about all the 4 seals. What is the first seal? All composite things are impermanent. What is the second seal? All contaminated things are nature of suffering. Good. Okay. So there, for sure, that many people, they think that in Buddhism, everything's impermanent. This is too naive. It's not the reality. Okay, what constitutes what is not impermanent? Anyone? What constitutes which is not impermanent? In other words, what is permanent? So yes.
A phenomenon that has a common motive with being non-momentary.
Okay. So, your name? Chinzamla. Anil Chinzamla is bringing up a very complicated answer. A phenomena which has common locus point with
Phenomena and non-momentary.
Non-momentary. Give me an example of non-momentary phenomena.
Emptiness.
Emptiness. What else?
And uncompounded space.
What is uncompounded space?
It's the non-obstructive contact.
Where is it?
What the basis of the relation is mid-air.
Where? Is everywhere? Okay. So the answer given by Chinzamla. Okay, very good. And so that it is not that everything is impermanent. Let us keep this in mind. So what we're going to learn this little technical aspect, and later on, if you do encounter with people who say that in Buddhism everything is impermanent, some go to the extent, some who are very prolific speakers, even they say that in Buddhism, of course, some of them, I don't know whether it's a deliberate attempt or they, because of their naivety, I'm not too sure, they say that public speakers, they say in Buddhism says everything is impermanent. Buddhism says everything is suffering. So then, people, they feel demoralized, hopeless. Everything is suffering. So why should I follow Buddhism? So this is an extremely bad, the information. This is not the right information in the first place. And then it is, in a way, be it intentional, unintentional, it can dissuade others from practicing the compassion, the wisdom of emptiness, and so forth, in order for your own happiness and for the happiness of other beings. Where is happiness? There's no happiness in Buddhism. In Buddhism, everything is suffering. This is total naivety. Okay, for that we need to know the first 2 lines of the 4 seals. All composite things are impermanent. Not all phenomena are impermanent. Only the composite phenomena are impermanent. Not all phenomena are suffering. Only the contaminated things are suffering nature. Whereas when you transcend contamination, you transcend sorrow. It's not that everything is sorrow. There is a state of the sorrowlessness. That's a state where the sorrow is transcended. You experience the absolute peace. There's a phenomena known as absolute peace. So this is where the people distort the information, or they're totally unaware of the nuances. So with this, the first one is the all composite things impermanent. So can you think of non-composite phenomena? This question. Anybody who likes to give an example of non-composite phenomena? So Anisha will give the example of uncompounded space. Anybody else who likes to give an example of non-compounded phenomena? Yes, here, your name? You did. Yes.
The soul or love.
Okay, you give the example of the love or the soul. Okay, this is what we need to discuss more. Anybody else? What's the uncompounded phenomenon? Yes.
The absence of elephant in this room.
Absence of?
Elephant in the room.
Absence of elephant in this room. Okay. Okay, this is good. This is good. Let us explore further, right? The composite things are impermanent phenomena. Only composite things are impermanent phenomena. And first of all, let me give you the basic, the blueprint of the existence, the classifications of the phenomena. Classifications of phenomena, we classify them into two groups: permanent and impermanent. Permanent and impermanent. And what is permanent? Don't worry. For time being, just you do the classifications. And the impermanent further divided into three groups. Impermanent further divided into three groups. One is physical form. Form, in other words, form, F-O-R-M, form. Then the mind or the consciousness. And number three, non-associated compositional factors. Form, mind, non-associated compositional factors. Non-associated compositional factors. In Tibetan, form is Suk, mind is Shepa, and on non-associated compositional factors is Demin Duje. Okay. So what we have is that the things that exist in the universe, all phenomena can be classified into two groups: permanent and impermanent. And impermanent, we further divide this into three. What are they? Form, mind, non-associated compositional factors. Which means that anything which is impermanent, anything which is the impermanent should necessarily be one of these three components, either physical form, mind, or non-associated compositional factors. Okay, now for information, how we classify the phenomena is into permanent and impermanent. Permanent and non-composite phenomena, these two are synonymous. Permanent and non-composite phenomena, or non-functional phenomena, these three are synonymous. Permanent phenomena, non-functional phenomena, and non-composite or uncompounded. Let me say this again. Permanent phenomena, uncompounded phenomena, non-composite, uncompounded, these two are matter of translation. It's the same thing. Non-composite or uncompounded, these two are the same, is a matter of translation, it's the same thing. And non-functional things. Non-functional things in Tibetan is mume. Mume in Tibetan. Okay, so the word permanent phenomena, non-composite phenomena, or uncompounded phenomena, and non-functional things, they're all synonymous. Now on the other side, impermanent phenomena, composite phenomena, compounded phenomena, and functional things, these four are synonymous. Likewise, there are many more synonyms, like produced phenomena. Produced phenomena. What is produced by causing conditions is also a synonym of the word impermanent phenomena. Okay, let me repeat it. Impermanent phenomena, composite phenomena, compounded phenomena, functional things, produced phenomena. Produced phenomena, they are synonymous. Okay, in this connection, the people are curious to know what constitutes permanent phenomena in Buddhism, right? What constitutes permanent phenomena in Buddhism? But say here I'm categorically talking about Buddhism, but in your mind, you have to don't think that as from Buddhist point of view. Don't think that as a Buddhist point of view. Think that as a reality. If you don't study that as a reality, then it becomes theology. It is theology. It is totally meaningless. For us, the whole purpose is to know the reality. To know the reality, we should not base our knowledge on the mere belief. It must tally with the reality. So therefore, it should not be like from Buddhist point of view. It should be the reality point of view. From the reality point of view, things can be classified into permanent and impermanent. And impermanent phenomena, we see the self that I'm changing, the flowers changing, the food, the house, the weather, the COVID-19, all the composite phenomena, they are changing. So what is changing is seen as a composite phenomena or impermanent phenomena. So what about the, non-composite phenomena? So what examples do we have? Okay, so now how many of you are not aware of such a phenomenon known as the non-composite phenomena? Presents, or who are curious to know what is non-composite phenomena is? Okay, so there are many of you who are already introduced to non-composite phenomena. I'm just wondering, is there anybody who likes to give an example of non-composite phenomena, like the absence of elephant in this house, or the uncompounded space? Okay, what makes you think that uncompounded? Okay, first let us keep this away. Uncompounded phenomena. This is, by the way, how many of you studied uncompounded space, non-composite space, or uncompounded space? How many have heard this before? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, many of you. Is there anybody who can explain what is uncompounded phenomena? Anybody who can explain what is uncompounded phenomena? Yes.
Phenomena without the cause.
Uncompounded space, right? Uncompounded space, to be very specific. Space, not as uncompounded phenomena. Uncompounded space. Anyone? Anyone who likes to explain it? Resents? Yes.
The absence of obstructive contact.
Okay. So what makes you think that this is uncompounded?
I think this so the view that the space is everywhere and filled with some objects, so basically everything is space and permanent there, and you just bring something into it, but you don't change it, so it's there.
Which one doesn't change? The book doesn't change, or what doesn't change?
So the book changed,
Uh,
but the space in which is changing is permanent.
Don't forget there's space there too. Compounded space also there. The space which changes. Don't forget it. Okay, anyone else? Yes.
Void.
Void. Anybody else who studied it technically?
Clear light.
Okay, anybody who studied it technically? Yes, here. Farizala?
Anything which doesn't have any substance and doesn't undergo any change.
Something which exists.
Yeah.
Okay, let us listen to what Farizaji is saying. Something which exists, but it does not have a substance. Okay, this has a great meaning, but we have to know what examples do you have. Something which exists. Okay, these are the criteria. Number one, it should exist. Something that exists. And the second criterion is that it does not have a substance, number 2. If something qualifies these two things, then it is a non-composite, it's a permanent phenomena. Okay, anybody who likes to explain a little further to make it, oh yes, it makes sense, because I can see that many of the people, it must be right, but how suddenly, these two things, how does it correlate to the uncompounded phenomena, permanent phenomena? Okay, anyone who likes to correlate the two? Something which exists without substance, that is uncompounded phenomena, right? Or permanent phenomena. How to explain this? Anyone? Or in your own words? Anybody else who likes to explain something what is uncompounded? Anyone? Not necessarily stick to this word, what is that you said?
Something that can't change momentarily.
Something which doesn't change momentarily. Something which exists. Something which exists, yet it doesn't change momentarily, like Mount Everest. Huh? Mount Everest, it was so gigantic, very firm there. It changes. Okay, it changes. So what doesn't change?
The voice space, that feels, that's why I explained this room.
Okay, elephant in this, the absence of elephant in this room is not changing. It's changing, of course. When the table is broken, it disappears. Okay, good answer, thank you. Yes?
The laws of nature don't seem to change. The laws of physics.
Laws of physics, of course, changes. Newtonian physics changed to quantum mechanics.
No, he was wrong. He wasn't entirely right.
Okay, you have to check with this girl. Right? Okay, but what I agree with you, that he was not wrong. What he thought as the ultimate, this is ultimate physics. Ultimate physics, that is not accurate. There's a subtler physics there. Quantum mechanics is there. There's a paradigm shift which came later on. But what he said, the laws of motion, many of these things still hold true.
Like
Yeah.
gravity doesn't seem to change. Gravity seems to always be true.
But as the object changes, object becomes smaller, smaller, smaller. The gravity also becomes smaller, smaller, smaller.
Yeah, but it's
It changes.
The law of gravity.
It changes, yeah? Good.
The law of gravity.
Which one? Law of gravity of the earth or law of gravity of the sun?
Everything.
Huh?
Generally, the law of gravity that two objects.
Where is it? Where is this everything of gravity? Where in between sun and planet earth?
Nowhere.
Or outside?
It should be everywhere if it's valid.
Where? It's everywhere. No. Gravity is with the earth, with the sun, with the solar objects, not with mind. Mind is not with gravity. Okay, anyone else? This is a very important concept. Anil, you like to explain?
I was thinking, so if you take the emptiness of the cup, that the cup always has emptiness.
Which emptiness?
And
Ultimate reality.
Yeah,
Well, let's not talk about ultimate reality for the time being. Even what is our emptiness? Even this is also questionable.
and other than that, I'm not too sure.
What about the space? Uncompounded space. Okay, Philip? Yes.
Something that doesn't arise due to causes and conditions.
Okay, something which exists. Okay, always qualify that with existent. If it does not exist, then they say simply by fulfilling the other criteria, it does not make any sense. Something which exists but not dependent on the cause and conditions, that is a permanent phenomena. Can you justify that with an example? Okay, no one else? Okay. Yes, Lakshmi?
I think an example would be vacuum.
Vacuum. Which vacuum? Compounded vacuum or the uncompounded vacuum?
Uncompounded vacuum, which
What about the compounded vacuum? Okay. Okay, is anybody who likes to defend? Yes.
is not formed by parts.
Okay, something which exists, always qualify that with this. something which exists and not formed by parts. Okay, this way they disagree. They'll have to disagree very strongly. Okay, Abhishek ji?
Example, I cannot give an example, but I think it can only be described with all negatives. It is neither this nor that. I think that would be.
Okay, that's interesting. Something which is not neither this nor that. Can you give an example of that?
No, that's what I said.
Okay, you don't have example. Or there doesn't exist an example.
Maybe.
Okay, the sadhana ji?
Time, not as block, hours and seconds, but time. There is some
Time. Time is uncompounded, permanent.
I think so.
Okay. Okay, so why yes here?
Cycle of birth and death.
Cycle of birth and death. Okay, cycle of birth and death falls under the gross impermanence. Okay, done.
Maybe something that doesn't have a beginning and doesn't have an end.
That's interesting. Let's not forget it. When I say interesting, it doesn't mean it's interesting. Right? It can be interesting, it may not be interesting. But don't trust me. Okay, the reason why I am spending a lot of time here is some of you who already studied this, you may think that I know it. Right? And some of you who have not studied this, you may think that this is a weird phenomena. Right? And then when you try to learn from somebody who is already introduced to this, you don't get anything out of this. And the other person who is explaining to you seems to be so convinced. And you never get convinced. You getting it? So these are the things that are bound to happen. So because of this, to let you know where you are, where we are, I'm deliberately spending time to make you speak so that you realize where our shortcomings are. You're getting it? Okay, having said this is a very important thing. What is composite phenomena? What is non-composite phenomena? Okay, let's say, speak your mind, don't speak your philosophy. Speak your mind, don't speak your philosophy. Speak your mind, meaning your mind can be your philosophy. Some people, what they think, your mind meaning what do you think? What do you think and what you learn philosophy? These two, they are separated by distance. Huge gap there. And you speak your philosophy. You don't speak your mind. When you don't speak your mind, you will never understand the philosophy. Only when you speak your mind, this will challenge and then the upgradation happens. This is how you grow. You're getting it? Okay. So with this in mind, my question to you is just tell me what really it comes to your mind. Okay. Okay. What is in my left hand? Hey. What is in my left hand? Nothing's there. You getting it? Okay. What's in my left hand now? A flower is there. Very good. Okay. What is in my hand now? A vase. Americans would say vase. Britishers would say vase. Right? A vase is there. A vase is there. Good. Okay. How many items are in my hand? One. Louder. One. Louder. One. Very good. Now don't make the volume smaller. Right? Okay, there's one. What is that? The vase. What about the color of the vase? Is it my hand? The color of the vase. Is it my hand or outside my hand? The color of the vase. Is it my hand or outside my hand? The color. Or the base of the vase. Base of the vase. Is it in my hand or outside my hand? In my hand. The vase is in my hand or outside my hand? In my hand. So the base of the vase, is it a vase or not? It's not vase. Huh?
It's part of it.
I ask whether these two are one or different. The base of the vase, is it a vase? That's what I'm asking. Just give me the answer to the question that I asked you. Don't give me quantum mechanics. You're getting it? I didn't ask you whether it's a part of the vase. Okay. So the vase is in my hand as well as the base of the vase is in my hand. You agree? Yes. Good. And the base of the vase is not the vase. So the base of the vase is different from the vase. Huh? Which means it is the vase? Or it is not the vase? Huh? It's not vase. It is not the vase. Which means it is different from the vase. If it's different, it must be more than one. Different means two. Two or three. Two or more. Right? So how many things are there now in my hand?
So many things.
Huh? Too many things. Not one. Not only one. Not only one. How many things are in my hand? If you say more than one, then other people may think that what's going in this room? People are all going crazy. There's only one thing there, and they are all saying they have more than one thing. What are they seeing? Right? They may think that you're crazy. Okay. If you say one, it contradicts the logic. It contradicts the logic. Right? Say the vase is there, the base of the vase is there, the color of the vase is there. They're all different things. All are in my hand. So you have to say there are so many things. If you say there are so many things, people think that you are crazy. Right? You give $1 and to the shopkeeper says there are so many things in this. They will think that you are crazy. Right? Okay. So what is the answer? How to resolve this problem? How to resolve this problem? This is the point. So from this can be resolved only if you understand the phenomenon known as the concept of entities and the isolates. Only if you know these two concepts, only then you can resolve this problem. Otherwise you can never resolve this problem. There's always uneasiness bound to be in your mind. Okay, so the phenomenon known as entities and the isolates. You have to know the concept of entities and the isolates.
What is this second word?
Isolates. Isolation. He is isolated. Isolates. 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 In Tibetan, dokpa. Latadatam doka dokpa. Entity is ngo. Entity is ngo. And isolate is dokpa. Ngo, dokpa. Okay. So, when I speak about the entities, when I speak about the isolates, entities, so do you agree with me that let's say that I see this flower and maybe this morning I was really mentally, a little heavy, and suddenly I see this flower, there's a joy in my mind, there's a joy coming in my heart. So this joy is the result of the object, the result of my eye consciousness seeing the flower. Getting it? So this gives rise to the emotional state of the joy. So there's interaction between the object and the subject. Interaction between the object and the subject that gave me this joy within me. So there's an object there, there's a subject here. Subject meaning your mind. Think about it. And when we say that the entities means the look for the object going towards the object. That is when you look for the entities. You try to describe the same object by going towards the subject. Describing the same object by going towards the subject, you're looking for the isolates. And you may be wondering for the flower, how do you go to the subject? You may have this question in your mind. So let us say that the question that I asked was the vase and the base of the vase, are these two one or different? And if you say one, again there's a contradiction there, it's logically contradictory. The base is very separate from the top. If the base is the vase, the top should be also vase. There should be two vases there. And if you say that no, these two are one, these two are different, then there should be two vases there. It contradicts the logic. If these two are one, again this is not one. So they have to resolve this. How to resolve this? For this, you are talking about whether the vase and the base of the vase, these two are one or different. So when you speak about the oneness and differentness, this can be understood on two levels. One, by going towards the object, and the other by going towards the subject. Okay, so don't worry how he may be going to the subject. Right? Don't worry about that part. First, let's go towards the object. So how do you go towards the object to identify whether the vase and the base of the vase, these two are one or different? But going towards the subject, if you ask me, where's the vase? I say that this is a vase. Is it correct or not correct? Hey, this is vase. Is this vase or not? Yes. Okay. This is vase. Thank you. This is vase. Where's the base of the vase? This is the base of the vase. Is it correct or not correct? Or let's say the color of the vase. Where's the color of the vase? This is the color of the vase. Is it correct or not? Correct? And where is the vase? It is here. This is the vase. Correct or not correct? So when I go to the object, when I go to point to the object, I can point to the same object for the reference of the two different labels. I can point to the same object for the reference of two different labels. The vase, label vase, and the label, the color of the vase. For the two different labels, I can point to the same object, which means that these two are, when you go to this object, I can point to the same object for the two different reference of two different labels. So which means that the two things are entity-wise from the object, these two are one. From the object, these are one. So technically we call it entity-wise the vase and the color of the vase, these two are entity-wise one. You're getting it? Because when you go towards the object, we can point to the same object for the reference of the two different labels. You're getting it? Okay. Now we go towards the subject to see whether these two are one or different. How do we go to the subject for the vase and the color of the vase? Okay, for this, easy would be, first I like to make it very easy, and then after this, you have to apply to all other things. For example, let me switch to the table and the top plank of the table. Okay, the table and the top plank of the table, entity-wise, are these two one or different? Raise hands. Those who said one. Entity-wise, one. Raise your hands. Okay, is there anybody who would like to explain to us how these two entity-wise one? Rachel?
Same reference?
Not same reference. These two are different reference. Is there money? When you point to the object, not to the subject, when you point to the object, you can point to the same object for the reference of two different labels. Don't say that the two references are same. Don't say that. So this is where we need the articulation. When you go to point to the object, instead of going to point to the subject, go to point to the object, we can point to the same object for the reference of two different labels. You're getting it? Where's the table? This is the table, correct or not correct?
Yes.
Where's the top plank of the table? This is the top plank of the table, correct or not correct? Correct. So we can point to the same object for the reference of two different labels. Therefore, the reference of two different labels, these two are entity-wise one. Entity-wise one. You getting it? Okay, now let's go to the subject. Why are we going to the subject? Why? Hey, why are we going to the subject? To look for what? Isolates. Very good. To see if these two are isolate-wise one or different. Right? So what is different in the eyes of the subject? What is different in the eyes of the subject? These are known as isolate-wise different. What is different on the object? This is known as entity-wise different. You're getting it? Entity-wise one, entity-wise different. Isolate-wise one, isolate-wise different. Okay. Now let us see. the top plank of the table and the table. Let's go to the subject to see if these two one are different. By going to subject, go to object, we see that these two are same. We call these two as entity-wise one. Good. Now let us go towards the subject. How do you go towards the subject? Close your eyes. Don't look at the table now, because you're going to employ your subject. Close your eyes. Okay, think of the table. Think of the table. Very good. Okay, now think of the top plank of the table. Think of the top plank of the table. Okay, open your eyes and tell me, is there any difference between how these two things appear to your mind? Different? Yes. Raise hand. Who likes to explain how these two are different? Yes, here.
I see two different shapes.
Like what?
I see the shape of the whole table, or then I see on the plateau.
Okay. Your name?
Julie.
Julie. What Julie is saying is that the table and the top of the table, when I think meaning on the subject, on the subject level, when I think of these two appear as different. Now what the table means, the top plank with the legs. Whereas the top plank means without the legs, just a flat one. This is how it appears, these two things appear as different. How many agree with Julie? Raise hands. Good. So it seems that these two things appear as different to your the conceptual mind, to the subjective conceptual mind. These two are known as isolate-wise different. You're getting it? Isolate-wise different. And some of you may be wondering, why isolate? Why this word isolate? Okay, who wondered about this question? Raise hands. Why? Why this word isolate is used? Why? 1, 2, 3. Okay, several of you. And you want to know this, you have to remind me sometime later, because if I explain this now, it can make you more complicated, confused. Who's going to remind me? Thosamling, you going to remind me? Good. And Lakshmi, you also going to remind me? Good. Okay. What's the question that you're going to remind me? Why? Why? What is different or what is same in with respect to your subject mind is referred to as the isolated wise one or different. Why? This word isolated is used in this context. Good. Okay. So what we learned thus far is that that is entity wise one, entity wise different, isolated wise one, isolated wise different. You're getting it? Okay. Now I will make you aware a little bit more. And you have to give me an example of what is entity wise different. Give me an example. Very quick. Quick, raise hands.
Rose and vase.
Huh?
The rose and the vase.
Yes. Okay. The rose and a vase. These two are entity-wise different. Thank you. And how many agree with Philip? Michael. How many agree with Michael? Raise hands. These two entity-wise different. Very good. Okay. Can you give an example of what is entity-wise one? The rose and the petals of the rose. Okay, how many agree with Venerable Thosamling? Raise hands. The rose and the petals of the rose, these two are entity-wise one. Very good. Okay, is there anybody who can give an example of what is isolate-wise different? The vase and the base of the vase, these two are isolate-wise different, because in your mind, these two appear different. Vase is the base of the vase plus the bulbous plus the rim. Whereas the base is just a base without the rim and without the bulbous body. Okay, so these two are isolate-wise different. Can you give an example of isolate-wise one? Hey. Petal? Okay. Isolate-wise one, you have to meditate. To know this, you have to meditate. Ready? Sit up. Okay. Okay, meditate. Let us meditate on the. Let us meditate on the ceiling of the room, ceiling of this hall. Meditate on the ceiling of this hall. Okay, next, meditate on lagap. Meditate on lagap. Hey, meditate. Okay, say these two appear different or these two appear the same? Hey, what happened? Huh?
It's like the elephant in your pocket.
Huh?
It's a bit like the elephant in your pocket.
So which means? It is non-existent? Pablo? Same, different?
I don't know what it's like.
Okay, so the Pablo saying that I do not know what you mean by what? Lagab, okay. Wow, okay. You said lagab, but I don't know what lagab is. Lagab means the ceiling. You're getting it? Okay, now let's meditate. Be serious. You're not serious. Okay, now meditate on the ceiling of the ceiling of this room. Pablo, meditate on the ceiling of the room. Okay, now meditate on lagab. Okay, good. Pablo, tell me. These two appear as different, these two appear the same. Same. In your mind, in your conceptual subjective mind, you see that although these two are different labels, but they appear to your conceptual mind as the same. So with the two different labels, but the referent appears as identical to the conceptual mind. These are known as isolate-wise one. For example, like water and chu. What chu means water in Tibetan language. Chu and water, these two are chu, water, pani. Pani is Indian word for water. So these three are the isolate wise one. Okay, now my next question to you is, give me an example of what is entity wise different, isolate wise different. Quick, raise hands. Give an example of what is entity wise different as well as isolate wise different. Yes?
The vase and the flower.
The vase and the flower, these two are entity wise different. How many agree with Philip? Philip? Raise hands. Okay, vase and the flower. The flower is here in my right hand and the vase is in my left hand. These two are entity wise different, two different objects. As well as in your mind, conceptual mind, these two appears two different things. So these two are entity-wise different as well as isolate-wise different. Very good. Then okay. Next, can you give me an example of what is entity-wise one, isolate-wise different? Raise hands. What is entity-wise one, isolate-wise different? Raise hands. Oh, no one? Rose and the petal of the rose. Don't just say petal of the rose. Rose and the petal of the rose. These two are entity-wise different. Okay, so these are what? The rose and the petal of the rose. These two are entity-wise one, isolate-wise one, isolate-wise different. Isolate-wise different. Okay. Now can you give me an example of what is isolate-wise one, entity-wise different? Quick, raise hands. What is isolated-wise one, entity-wise different? Quick, raise hands. Yes. Chew and water. Thank you. Anyone else? Quick, raise hands. Raise hands. The ceiling and the lagab. So what is that? Is the example of what? Entity-wise one, isolated-wise different. Okay, good. Two. And more examples? I need more examples. I need more examples. Raise hands. Raise hands. Raise hands. Yes. The wall and the painting of the wall. Wall and the painting of the wall. These two are attitude-wise one, entity-wise different. Okay, anyone else? No? No? There are more than 60 people. There are only 3 examples given. Just raise hands. What is entity-wise, attitude-wise one, entity-wise different? Raise hands. No? Okay, yes.
The bicycle and the wheel of the bicycle.
Bicycle and the wheel of the bicycle. Okay, we have 4 examples. More? Here?
A human being and their hair.
Human being and the hair. Okay, we have 5 examples. Okay, yes.
Book and pages.
Say it again.
Book.
The book and the painting. Painting. Painting.
Pages.
The pages. The book and the pages. These two are entity-wise one. No, attitude-wise one, entity-wise different. Okay. That's it. How many we got? Huh? We got 6 examples. So, in fact, just listen. This is very important. Listen. Yes, Abhishek ji.
My name Abhishek and
Me and my name Abhishek. These two are attitude-wise one, entity-wise different. Yes. Mind. Okay, entity-wise, attitude-wise one, entity-wise different. So we got 8 of them. You get it? Let's listen to what Buddha has to say. Buddha, who's the omniscient one, he explored. He never found such examples. And here in Thosamling we got 8 of them. You getting it? In Thosamling we got 8 of these examples. But the Buddha never found this example. Right? The omniscient one could not find it, and we found it. We found 8 of them here in Thosamling. In this, let's not forget it. This is historic. Okay, in other words, there's no example of, there's no instance of anything which is isolated-wise one, entity-wise different. What is entity-wise different should always be isolated-wise different. Let's not forget it. You getting it? Let me repeat it. What is entity-wise different should always be isolated-wise different. Because entity-wise, from the object, if you see them as different, in your mind, the two should invariably appear as different. You getting it? Okay, so what is entity-wise different is always isolated-wise different. Let's not forget it. You getting it? Okay. Now, with this, we speak about the, okay, now things are becoming clearer for us. So what he said is that the flower and the color of the flower, are these two isolated-wise one or different? The flower and the color of the flower, these two isolated-wise one or different? Isolated-wise different. Okay, now let's see that the flower, how many such the isolates are there? The flower, the color of the flower, the shape of the flower, the smell of the flower, and the texture of the flower, and the flower not being a chocolate. The flower is not a chocolate. The flower being empty of chocolate. Alright, this is also reality. Is that all the characteristics of the flower, we can say that they are entity-wise one with the flower and isolated-wise different from the flower. Let's not forget it. All the characteristics of the flower, they are entity-wise one with the flower, isolated-wise different from the flower. You getting it? Okay. The flower not being a house. Is this the characteristic of the flower? Yes, no? This flower not being a house. Is this the characteristic of the flower? This flower being pink. Is it pink or red? Red. This flower being red. Is that the characteristic of the flower? Yes. This flower not being white. Is that characteristic of the flower? Yes. This flower not being a table. Is the characteristic of the flower? Yes. This flower not being objectively real. Is the characteristic of the flower? Yes. We said nothing exists objectively as real. Right? This is what we said. So the flower not being objectively real is also characteristic of the flower. You getting it? Okay. Now, we talk about, we see from this what we learn. From this what we learn is that there are two things when you speak about phenomena, there are two kinds of phenomena. The phenomena which exists from the object, the flower, and the flower not being a chocolate. This is also a phenomena. So these two are different. Are these one are different? The flower and the flower not being chocolate. Are these one are different? Are these isolated as one are different? Hey, what happened to you? Sometimes the computer hangs. Sometimes the computer hangs, right? The flower and the flower not being a chocolate. Are these two isolated as one are different? Are these two entity wise one are different? Entity wise one, isolated wise different. Now, what you can very confidently say is that two things which are isolated wise different, you can say these two are different. What is isolated wise different, you can say that these two are different. You're getting it? This is what we have to say. Now, how many things are there in my hand? One. Don't say two things. One. What is that? The vase. What about the base of the vase? It exists. But are there two things? There are no two things. There's only one thing. But the vase which is in my hand and the base of the vase which is also in my hand, these two are different. These two are different doesn't mean there are two things in my hand. There's only one thing in my hand. So the study of logic, a study of philosophy, a good study of philosophy, good study of logic is a logical philosophy which does not contradict with the conventional world. You're getting it? So when you say that there's only one thing that accords with the conventional world, or it contradicts the conventional world. There's one thing in my hand. It contradicts or it accords with the conventional world. It accords with the conventional world. So you never say that there are two things in my hand. You're getting it? If you say there are two things in my hand, the conventional ordinary people, they will say that something is wrong with you. There's damage in brain. They will send you to mental hospital. So say that there's one thing. But what about the vase, the base of the vase? Is it in your hand? Yes. The vase, is it in your hand? Yes. Are these two one are different? These two are different. These two are isolated different. Simply because these two are different does not mean that there are two things. Right? These two are different, but they are no two different things. Okay, what do you mean by things? That is the way ordinary people understand it. For example, ordinary people will say that there's nothing in my hand. Right? Conventional world will say that there's nothing in my hand. Is there a vase? No. Absence of vase is there? Okay, now this is a key point. Let's not forget it. Let me remind it, particularly those of us who already studied this and those of you who never studied this. Both of you pay attention. Okay, now what we said is that okay, what is in my hand? Left hand? Flower. What is in my left hand? Nothing is there. Nothing is there. When I say nothing is there, right? But logically speaking, the absence of is there a flower there? No? Absence of flower is there? Yes, something is there? What is there? Everything you know like this. Right? So the flower is there? No. The absence of flower is there? Yes. Something is there? Yes. Something is there? No. Nothing is there. Nothing is there. But absence of flower is there. It doesn't matter. Absence of flower is there, but nothing is there. Right? What do you mean by something is there? Something is there means how the conventional world will classify as something is there. What does something is there mean in the minds of the conventional world, conventional people? That some substance should be there. You're getting it? There should be some substance there as a flower, which the Farizala said. There's some substance there. Only if there's some substance there, then the conventional world will say there's something there. Although the absence of flower is in my hand now, although the absence of flower is there, but the conventional world will never say that there's something there. So, how do you reconcile these two things? The absence of flower is there, but still we say nothing is there. Nothing is there means there's no substance there. There's no substance as something there. Okay, now, this is very important. Absence of flower is in my hand or not? Absence of flower, it does exist. It is a phenomena. It exists means it is a phenomena. It exists. So therefore, I said there are two criteria. One is that it exists, and it does not undergo change. That is a permanent phenomenon. You getting it? So absence of flower is in my hand or not? Hey, absence of flower is in my hand. Yes. Absence of flower in my hand, but this absence of flower does not have a substance there. You getting it? Because it, now look, this is I'm shifting you from one to the next to the third point. So this shift, if you miss one point, you will lose the link. So, absence of flower, is it in my hand now? Yes. That's it. But we said nothing's in my hand. What do you mean by that? Because there's no substance there to say that this is absence of flower. There's no substance there. Because there's no substance there, now the next thing. Because there is no substance there, what undergoes change is a substance undergoes change. Because there is no substance there, there's nothing to undergo change. You getting it? It exists, but there's no substance. Okay, first one is that absence of flower exists, number one. Number two, but it does not have a substance to say that this is absence of the flower. There's no substance there. Number three, because there is no substance there, there's no substance to undergo change. Number three. Number four, because there is no substance to undergo change, it is not changing. Number five, it exists, it is not changing, it should be unchanging. What is unchanging is permanent. What is unchanging is not impermanent. What exists, which is not changing, what exists, which is not changing, should be unchanging. What exists, which is not impermanent, should be permanent. So the absence of the flower is, absence of flower in my hand is permanent for that reason. You getting it? Okay. With this, of course, I'm going to also do the revision of this. This is a very important point. So, having said this, the next point that we are learning is that the non-composite, because it does not have a substance there, there's no composition there. Non-composite is a permanent phenomena, and non-composite phenomena, these two are synonymous. How synonymous? Permanent phenomena is a phenomena which does not have a substance. Because it does not have a substance, there's no substance to decompose it. The composition is not compounded by substance. Therefore, it is known as uncompounded phenomena, non-composite phenomena. You getting it? Okay. What is non-composite phenomena? What is the uncompounded phenomena? This is known as the permanent phenomena. Okay. If the need be, I can revise this in the next class. Okay, we'll stop here. Yes.
Krishna, can I give an example of how what I'm thinking as the teaching is like, if I went to my father's room, because that is my father's room, but I don't see my father's there. So then that means that I have that phenomenon of thinking that my father's room, my father is there. Is actually what you're saying.
The father's room and
my father is not there. But
okay, so you can say absence of the father in my father's room, that is a non-composite phenomena. Perfect.
Okay. Even though my father is no longer alive.
In other words, any phenomena referred to as the absence. Absence of father, absence of flower, absence of a person in the room, absence of the COVID-19, all these absences, what exists should be non-composite phenomena. Good? Yes.
Other question. If the absence of the flower in your hand doesn't change, doesn't it change when you put the flower there?
Okay. So this is a very serious question. Essence of flower, right? Now you put back the flower, essence of flower disappears. Does it not change? Okay, this question. So change has the connotation of, let's say the essence of flower. Let's say this flower. If I keep it there for 10 days, will it change or not? In what way it changes? I don't remove. I keep it there. After 10 days, it withers. You're getting it? There's a change there. Say, remove this. Absence of flower. Absence of flower. Today, out of 10 days,
Is it the same or it changes? It withers, it's same. Because there's no substance there to undergo change. So if the absence of flower day one, if you call it as a fresh absence of flower, day 10 there's no difference, it's a fresh absence of flower. You're getting it? So there's no substance there. This is where we grow in your thinking. So this is what Acharya Dharmakirti, he said that what is permanent? For the ordinary people, permanent means something lasting forever. Whereas for the scholars, for the learned people, permanent means, it doesn't mean something lasting forever. It simply means something which does not undergo change, which does not have the potential, which does not have the substance to undergo change. That is what the scholars refer to as a permanent phenomena. Okay, we'll stop here. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Gati